Well, I stayed. I was there throughout. I was there right for the whole 2.5 hours of the wretched thing. A couple of things I'd say. Firstly, that don't underestimate the power of the media to divide people, to blame the poor as being the perpetrators of all our problems and all our ills, and the idea of setting up a sort of snoopers society so that everybody is around hunting the single parent who may have inadvertently claimed £10 a week too much in housing benefit. So we end up with an extremely nasty atmosphere within our society. I think what they are banking on is spending the next year changing the terms of debate, because all of us in this room have grown up with the idea of a universal welfare state and a cohesive society. They are changing that debate into individual responsibility, into family, into all those kind of values in exactly the same way that Berlusconi has changed the debate in Italy. Yeah. So I think what we have to do is defend the whole principle of universal provision of public services and universal benefits. Because if we don't defend that principle of those universalism in society, then we're in a much weaker position. They're also going to divide people, and welcome, brother, welcome. You are very, very welcome indeed. They're going to try and reduce the National Health Service to the levels that, unfortunately, your country's National Health Service, or lack of National Health Service, operates on. But also, in the case of housing, John made that point already. I represent an inner city area. The biggest problem is overcrowding, the biggest problem is housing or lack of housing provision, the biggest problem is excessive private sector rents. What are they doing? They're not tackling the shortage, they're not tackling excessive private sector rents. Instead, they're capping housing benefit so that private sector tenants in receipt of housing benefit are going to be forced out of my borough, and those that are lucky enough to get a new council tenancy are going to pay, in my case, and I don't know about John's constituency, it's probably broadly similar, double the rent of the neighbour who happens to have been a tenant the day before this arbitrary date. And instead of having a tenancy for life, as existing council tenants do, the next ones will have their tenancy reviewed by God knows who every 5 years. I mean, we're into campaigns of resistance, and we've got a very difficult trick to do. There's all these campaigns on health, on housing benefits, on employment, on capital spending cuts, on job losses in the public sector, all those things. We've got to support all those campaigns and at the same time unite all those people together to say we, the victims, are all in this together. So we've got to make the case for public services, make the case for public expenditure, and John does this very effectively, make the case for making the tax havens pay, the bankers pay, and those that caused this crisis pay, rather than the poor. The idea that this is some equality of sacrifice is complete tosh. It's a bunch of millionaires lecturing the rest of us on how they're going to keep on being millionaires and blame the poor for the crisis that we're in. Well done, the Coalition of Resistance. We'll have a great rally out here tonight. We'll have a great rally on Saturday, and solidarity with the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, the Greeks, everybody else. Because what is now happening to European economies is what's been done to what are euphemistically called third world economies for the past 30 years by the International Monetary Fund, where they've said slash public services, privatise things, that's the way forward. That's the lecture we're getting now. So we've got an international coalition of resistance going. I'm sorry to interrupt your time. Welcome, brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.